Welcome to the Healing Incubator podcast. I am your host, Kyonna F. Brown, the forgiveness expert, and we are all about the truth, forgiveness, and healing. You are entering a controlled environment where there are others who are reaching to grow in their entrepreneurial journeys, personal lives, and self-care. Are you ready to heal? Hey guys, it's Kyonna F. Brown, your forgiveness expert, and you are tuning into the Healing Incubator podcast. But this is an episode of drum roll. I have no drum roll, guys, but this is an episode of A Dose of Oxygen. And so today I am here to talk to you about something that happened in my life. I like to keep it open, honest, especially in my healing journey, because it may help someone as they are reaching their goals, as they're reaching their destinations of healing. And so I wanted to talk about distractions, you guys. Are they divine distractions that you may be having? Are these distractions that are going to lead you into destruction? And one thing that I wanted to do was look up the word distraction in the dictionary. So here it goes. A thing that prevents someone from giving full attention to something else. The company found a passenger the company found a passenger and they traveled away from the station. Now, do you think that that is a distraction? They said travel, a distraction from the main business of moving the freight. So when we look at that definition, we're looking at asking ourselves, are the things that we're going through taking our attention away from something else? Because the example that they gave was the company found a passenger travel and it was a distraction from the main business or moving freight. And so when we look at that, there are so many things that we could possibly take with us in our mental and our psyche. But I wanted to give you some words that might make you realize if you have a distraction in your life. Is there any division? Is there any interruption? Are there any disturbances in your life? Interferences, obstruction? Now, if you notice any of those things that are in your life, you may have a distraction. And if you have a distraction, wonder if those things are for the better or if they are for destruction, if they are divine or if they are for destruction. And so there was a situation in my life, and actually I had a dream about this thing and everything. And so while having that dream, I said, well, I don't know what that dream is about. But it hit me when I realized that I was misplacing my priorities. And I was misplacing my priorities because of another task that I deemed to be important. Now, this task is important, but however, it should have not been important enough to take me off the mission of teaching and sharing God's word. And as to become a teacher, as to share his word, you have to study. And so it was literally taking me away from that unification time that I would have with God, that intimate time that I would have with God. So that distraction was actually a destruction towards me. And so when I look at this and I understand where I am going, it made me think about David. Now, we know about David in the Bible, and there's a lot of talk about him. There's a lot of people who know different things. David has had a tremendous journey in his life. But I want to look at some things that David did. Now, we'll talk about the story with him and doing the things that he wasn't supposed to do. He had a distraction. He didn't go to war. Right? And while he was not at war, what did he do? He ended up being with Bathsheba. And Bathsheba had a husband who was out to war and doing what he was supposed to do, standing defense, standing the test of time, as it related to, putting out that process of being a warrior, being a fighter. And while he was out there doing what he was supposed to do, his wife and King David, David they did not do what they were supposed to do. Actually, David was supposed to be out there with him. But however, they laid together and they produced a child. And after producing the child, Bathsheba, told David and said, hey, I don't know, what's going to happen. So he tried to bring her husband in and hoping that they would become intimate with one another. But her husband was uh, so on the strength of not letting any distraction come towards him, that he said, hey, I got to go to war. I can't be, disrupted. And a lot of times in that era, you weren't able to be with your wife. You weren't able to lay with your wife because you had to have the strength that you needed to actually conquer and fight in this battle. And so he went off, and David ended up having him killed. But as a result of that, someone became pregnant with a purpose that was not theirs. Bathsheba became pregnant. And while she became pregnant, this was not supposed to be her purpose, you guys, because she was supposed to be with her husband. And if any pregnancy was to happen, it should happen with her husband. Well, however, we know that it happened with David. And so as a result of that, she became pregnant with a purpose, with a baby, with a life that was not hers. Now, when we're going into this distraction phase, we have to understand and be very, very careful that we are not becoming pregnant with a destiny that did not belong to us. And so we must stay focused on what the promise is for us and not become distracted. Now, there's another thing that happened. The innocent became hurt, meaning that the innocent died, which was her husband, because of what she chose to do. So, how many of us are engaging in any distractions that may kill the innocent around us? Meaning that it may not be positive for our family members. It may not be a positive thing for our friends. It might not be a good look for you at work, and it might hurt the people that are surrounding you. So having a distraction does not only affect you, but it affects those who are around you. And so another thing that came to mind was prolonging and an abortion of your destiny. Why do I say the prolonging? Because it took longer for David to get where he was supposed to be because of the things that he went through, the things that he was not supposed to do. And so a lot of times we'll get distracted with something that will take us totally out left field from where we are supposed to be. And if we are supposed to be there, then there's an alignment. But if we go to the left and or to the right and not continue to go straight on the path that we're supposed to be on, we can be in a space of being prolonged to where we're supposed to be. And either it could be that it's not going to happen because that season, that time has passed you by. Now, if you're in this season, if you've been in any of these seasons of your life, well, we all know that this is the Healing Incubator podcast, and you can ask for healing of your mind. You can ask for healing of your heart. You can ask for healing of your soul, especially with these things that I've mentioned, because when you've gone through these things, sometimes it will take a toll on your mental. And if it takes a toll on your mental, then you might become depressed. Then you might have anxiety towards different things. There's a whole menagerie, a list of things that can happen when we allow for distraction to come in and take hold of our lives. And so I just wanted you to today just think about any distractions that you may have in your life, anything that's taking you off course, anything that is allowing for you to drive off of the road of the destination where you already have the map, you already have the GPS coordinates, and you're deciding to still go the opposite way when the GPS says go that way. So I just wanted to remind you guys that you can get back on track, that you can ask for forgiveness, that you can have a do-over, but you have to realize where you are first. Now, there's another thing that we talked about in the very top of uh this this segment, a dose of oxygen. And we talked about whether it was divine or destruction. Now, we know that you can have a distraction that's going to lead to destruction. We talked about that with David. Now, let's look at something that might be divine. Have you ever been moved out of a place or moved out of a situation, and the hand of God removed you from that place? And had you stayed there any longer, you would have not been in alignment with where you were supposed to be. And so you can have a divine distraction that will remove you so that you can go to the places that you were meant to go. So, guys, I just wanted to share that with you. I am so glad that you decided to click that button. I'm so glad that you decided to listen in to divine destruction, or was it your purpose, right? So, guys, make sure that you're sharing this thing. Make sure that there are others out here that know, because there might be some distractions that are hindering them from a greater process. Those distractions might even be hindering them from even healing. I am Kyonna F. Brown, your forgiveness expert. Make sure to tune in as we have another phenomenal guest coming up for you soon. But this has just been a dose of oxygen, something to get you through, something for you to think about so that you can continue your journey of healing. All right, guys, talk to you later. Bye.
I feel so happy. I feel so happy. I feel so good today.